Hello, thanks for tuning in and listening to this quick recording. This is Randy Marcotte, and I'm the CEO and co founder of Perfect Video Conferencing. If this past week of sheltering in place related to the coronavirus and today is going to be any indication, there's a likelihood that your organization is struggling with how to support a home office environment and what to do as far as best practices go. We're getting a lot of calls for home office setups or huddle rooms, and our core competency is really video conferencing platforms and the AV integration that goes with that. But we certainly have a lot of experience in the home office space, and wanted to share this free advice so that you can go ahead and make sure your home office workers are getting the support from you that they need and the experience that you want from any of the video conferencing platforms that you may be choosing. So a host of resources, and the structure of this video is going to be to talk a little bit about the home office and some blog posts and some best practices, and then a little bit more about kind of the kits that come with home office setups or small huddle rooms. The huddle room home office can oftentimes act in the same manner, and I'm going to try to use my environment as a teachable moment or an experience. Later this week, we're actually going to post a little bit and tell some stories about customers using this technology to enhance kind of the transfer of their internal culture and and how they're maintaining a connection to one another using this platform. It seems to be the time of video conferencing, but it's also the time to get things right on a budget because we don't know what's next for all of us. So you're welcome to take a look at perfectvc.com for more information. Really helpful to kind of look at what we do and who we are as subject matter experts. And then mostly I'll be talking about these of our primary partners, Life Size, Blue Jean, Zoom, Starleaf. Many of the platforms out there are giving away free licensing for those home office users. As a stopgap to the challenges that you're facing. So if you're not sure which platforms to use, or if you've already adopted one and not sure what's available to you as a customer, either of them or a PBC, please go ahead and use our live chat or just call us. We'll be glad to help you find an affordable way of solving the shelter in place options, maintaining business continuity and connection to your colleagues. You'll also find a store where you can actually look at some of these parts and potentially source them. Amazon has them too, but obviously we'd like to stay in business. We're going to be here after this crisis, and so when you're ready to light up your conference rooms, please call us back. But for now, again, this is really about how to get this right. On our LinkedIn page, you'll see a series, two-part series. One of them is on how to build the conference room and get that right, and then the other is about kind of the cloudy cloud. Uh, a bit of a pun that there's so many options out there that it's confusing about what you might want to choose. So first there's the platform side of making a choice, and then secondarily there's the infrastructure or the hardware or the room experience. And when those come together nicely, everyone's got a perfect video conferencing experience. And when those don't come together nicely, you've got a lot of headaches, frustration, and a lack of adoption and lack of use. The technology will get in the way rather than enhancing the experience. So we want to point that out. You can go here again on our LinkedIn page. You're welcome to use this as templates towards your own deployment. LifeSize, one of our primary partners, gave a really good blog post recently about maintaining a remote workforce and the culture of your organization through a remote workforce. Those of us in video conferencing have been doing this for many years, and now you've entered our world. We'd like to make it an easy transition. And this article I found quite useful. There's more stuff too about the life size equipment here. If you're looking at kit-based solutions rather than building your own, life size has some really great options. So about this particular room, where I am, there's a number of things that make a difference. And this is true for any home office. This happens to be my desk office, but my home office, you'll see in another photo, or any home office that I set up has very similar things. It's the position of the camera. So right now, I've got the camera in my notepad in a location where if I'm looking at my notes, I'm actually looking into the camera, and then I'm using this monitor, not the one to the left. So I could do that, and then all you get is a side shot of my ahead. So you want to make sure that your camera is set up at the right height. I use a USB camera instead of my laptop camera because I get a better angle and I can adjust that. So if you're looking for the nose shot, the clamshell of a laptop opened for good reading is just going to give you a nasal view, and that might not be the best for video conferencing. Um, and also, I'm not ever typically setting up my laptop so there's a window behind me unless I'm going for that witness protection view. Cameras are getting better and better at adjusting for light. I'm using the Logitech Brio, and it does this right light technology. It'll do some correction, but you can only do so much when the sun's out behind you, and then that just makes it pretty distracting for the far end participants or the other people on a video call. They can't quite see if what they're saying resonates with you based on your facial expressions. And so I've got a lot of front facing light, some windows open, and a lamp on the other side of this, so that it makes me shiny and makes me glow, but you can see what I'm thinking if I make a facial expression. So that's the over the camera view. So then when I look at my desk, a couple of things that are important about this. Again, I mentioned that I've gone ahead, and I'll just go ahead and spotlight that. Gone ahead and placed my camera in a location where I can actually look at the screen share and get nearly an eye to eye look and view. So if I were to use the side monitor that I'm highlighting now, again, you'd get that side view. I use a Mitel handset, and I've got a wire to it on the left, and that wire then goes to a wireless headset. That headset I use if I'm going to be on a phone only call, because then I can walk around the office, mute it, unmute it wirelessly. If I'm going to do a video call, I've got a Plantronics Jabra headset that you see here, and that's actually the one I'm wearing. I use this one all the time. I like the one ear or monaural experience because then I can hear any of my colleagues if they're here. Right now, I've got the office to myself for obvious reasons. But I like this because I get good in ear sound, and I like using a boom because then I can slide it up and you hear less of it. And so the audio proximity, the microphone and the speaker, one ear works. A lot of people like the binaural or over both ears because then they get a kind of a quiet cave of their own. And if they're listening to music, they can get less distraction. So you do you and choose what works. But for me, always tethering to a headset using USB to the computer will give you much higher quality sound. I own earbuds and I love them, and I own Bluetooth headsets and I love them for running and working out and listening to music. They're not so great for video conferencing, mostly because Bluetooth audio is a little thinner than wired audio. So if you want to get the nuances of speech, you're better off doing even a $50 headset crushes this problem pretty directly. So uh, choose wisely when you're choosing your gear in your home office, but setting it up will also help. So, from an audio perspective, headsets and wires, like I said, earbuds are okay. And the biggest thing is to really know where your mute button is. I know where the Life Size and Starleaf and Zoom mute buttons are, but I like this headset because it actually has an inline mute button. So if I'm in a meeting, I don't have to fuss for my keyboard. I can actually just tap the inline mute on the headset and get the same result. I also tap the side. So knowing where your mute is just a video conferencing etiquette thing in general. But if you're setting up a home office, give your end user options to mute and have that be part of the onboarding and training. Worst case scenario is you've got someone who doesn't know how to mute their camera and doesn't unmute their microphone, and they do things at their home office that you might not want to see. I picked a wedgie once on video in the early stages. I just forgot that the camera was on, so I'm not beyond making the mistakes. And if you Google the recent issues, you'll find actually someone using the urinal, or a woman sitting down at the toilet on a Zoom call. It's quite funny, and our colleagues got to see it. They certainly can't unsee it. Ultimately, now we've all seen it on the interwebs. So if you are going to do home office stuff, and you're not going to have an ideal work environment, go ahead and find out where that mute button is. Your kids are going to be home and they're going to make noise, and we're all accepting that. It's great. But you also probably don't want your colleagues who are trying to talk not be able to get their words in edgewise or otherwise. So mute the camera. As an example here, camera's muted. I like putting an image so that when I do speak, and this is available on most of the platforms, so that people still know who I am and what I'm saying. And so there was the value of muting the actual camera itself. Um, Always good to actually test the settings in the platform. So I'm going to pull up another one of the software that we use all the time. It's the life size one. You can actually go into all of these and actually look at your settings. And not only look at your settings, but choose which camera you're going to use, choose which microphone you're going to use, and you can get a visual feedback to see whether or not the microphone or speakers or cameras are performing well. So again, know where to check your settings so that you can validate that experience as a home office user. All right, move that one out of the way. So next up, standard home office kits that are pre-built as huddle room systems. So here's a setup where they're using an iPad to control the software, a TV. In this unit here, it's the Aver VB342 Plus. I'm going to show you it here as well. It's an all-in-one unit that uh, that gives you a microphone, speaker, and a wide field of view camera. So when you're setting up a room, and you can use this in a home office, literally you could just have a TV on the wall and this, and you just speak towards the TV when you're on a video call, and your end user gets it. Now, what you don't see is behind this TV, there's a power supply and a computer that runs the video software and a keyboard. So you don't have to have all of that stuff visible, but it is part of the ecosystem. You're going to need in a home office kit. You're going to need a TV or a monitor of some sort. You're going to need a microphone. You're going to need a speaker source. We don't typically use the TV outbound sound as a speaker source just because it's sometimes thinner than what you'll get when you buy a video conferencing solution with a speaker. So, but you can use the TV sound. It's good enough for many home offices. You want a camera and you want to consider your field of view. This particular Brio is a 4K camera. I can go into the software and change the field of view. I've done sort of the standard desk field of view, but many of them, like one I'll show you in a moment, is a wide angle view. They have some that actually do more of a film strip and you can see around the room, some that auto adjust. And the prices are anywhere from $60 for a good Logitech desktop camera to thousands of dollars for a pan tilt zoomy type camera. I'm going to mainly talk about the $200 to $400 units that we typically use. This camera as a standalone unit is a $400 camera. But then when you add the microphone and speaker, this becomes a $900 event for an all inclusive. So the price points are great when you consider that buying a microphone, a camera, a speaker separately would come up to $1,000 anyway. You can get the all-in-one combo kits for roughly the same price. So here's another example. We use the Hudley Cam on this one. It's a small camera, USB connection to a computer. This one does a great job of wide-angle field of view, and it's super small, and you can also invert it. So this particular kit was just going to a Hudley Cam, and then for a microphone and speaker, they also wanted a phone line here. So we use this Phoenix MT502. It USBs into the computer, so you've got the USB connection, but then it also has a POTS line or a plain old telephone line to go in to make just a plain old phone call. So if you're in a home office and you have an old school phone line, most people actually just use their cells. You can plug your cell into this and have a better microphone speaker for your cell. You can USB to it to your computer, and then you can also put a POTS line to it. And many of you who are looking at this might actually ask me, "Hey, old man, what the heck is a POTS line?" But those are the phone lines that come off the wall. Here's the Logitech example of a similar kit. In this rolling cart, where it sat in the office, it made more sense to have the camera below versus above, and that camera position really is just dictated by how you're going to use the room and the distance between you and the kit. If it's up on top of the TV and you're really close to it, you're just going to get a top of a head view. If you are in the distance, a good field of view, and like the Aver camera, this Logitech unit does a nice wide angle view of the room, and you can do some digital zooming in and zooming out. But this is a cart that's a nice sleek look, puts everything, mounts the computer and everything behind the cart. That's a drawer that you're seeing sliding in the back here. Uh, Here's another one of the home offices I sit at. So when I travel, I'll carry this laptop and an iPad, and I can mirror that. There's a display, and I popped a Logitech C930 up on top of that. So again, I've got that same sort of facing me view. I wouldn't typically put the video software on the left or the right screens. I'd put it dead center. I might have my email that I'm not sharing over on the other screen. I might mute my camera and type an email. And if I want to do that, I'm going to mute my microphone. But what I've done in this room is I have a, a a guest house, an Airbnb space, and I go there often. So what I've done here is there's a light behind the monitor. So when I'm on a video call, I'm getting some front-facing light. I open the window so that I get outdoor light somewhere, and it gives me a better view to the far end participants. And then behind me, um, you don't see it in this picture. I don't have one of it, but you can actually do some green screens or blackout. In this particular room, it's just a curtain behind me, so it looks professional, and I can brand it if I want. Um, I mentioned that there are all-in-one kits. The computing resource, if you're going to build a room, and the keyboard, the microphone, the speaker, those can be from 10 different manufacturers if you're piecing it together. What we like about the life size portfolio, Starleaf as well, and many of the others, is that they have solved the camera, the computing resource, the software, the speaker, microphone, all in one manufacturer's portfolio. So you end up by having one back to pad or one throat to choke if there's a challenge, and they come pre-configured. So there's not a lot of IT setup necessary. So if you are looking to do an executive home office, um, and you need to get it right, again, a good camera, good microphone, good speaker, that's going to get you to that $2,000 or $3,000 price point anyway. So looking at kits made by some of the manufacturers like Life Size gets you there and gets you one part, one SKU to ship. Solves a lot of the logistics problems. But today's scale problem for hundreds of people, thousands of people going to home office, it's going to come down to maybe a few people get these all-in-one units, but a lot of people, and I'm just going to pull up the Logitech website, um, might not have the budget for this, and you might go to Amazon. So there's plenty of really good cameras, plenty of good headsets. We would prefer you buy from us, but we'll show you the right ones, and you can get them on Amazon quicker, maybe. We want this problem to go away for you so that when you come back to your conference room, you'll call on us. Lastly, one of the other headsets I use, you maybe saw in that other picture, I carry, I travel with the Sennheiser headset. They make some of the best audio. And then in a small office, we've seen these pucks. The first one is USB, the other one is wireless. Really solve a lot of the ambient noise issues, the volume control. There are microphones and speakers built in one. They go USB to the computer, and they travel quite nicely. They even come with a nice little carrying case. The USB connection to the computer makes it really stable audio quality. And then the remote mic is DECT technology. That's the same audio and wireless technology you might use on your home phones if you've got multiple home phones, and it's just interfere proof. It's clean, crisp audio, and so when you plug one of these into a computer and you can move the other one around, it gives you kind of a hands-free, really high quality sound. So we oftentimes recommend these for these huddle rooms or mid-sized conference rooms. Work really, really well. I do hope this has been helpful. The summary on this then is you make a decision about whether or not you want to simplify a home office and keep it tight on a budget. A good USB camera is going to cost you $60 to $100. A good headset, $30 to $40. Then you have the computing resource to pull it off and the software platform. If you want to upgrade the experience to kits, you're either building your own kit or you're buying a pre-made kit by one of the manufacturers, and then there's some setup. So consider the factors, consider this layout. Let us know if you've got any questions. Do hope this is helpful, and if it's not, call us and we'll fix those problems for you too. Stay safe, wash your hands, and have a great day.